I found out that my sister slept with my fiance, and I'm not sorry about what I did afterwards. 30F here, and I have a sister who's just a year older than me. We've always had such a good friendship, so finding out about this one really hurt. She might as well have just stabbed me in the heart. On top of that, I've been with my fiance since high school, and we've always been with each other through thick and thin, and we were going to get married in a few months. I have no idea why on earth they did this to me. And what's even worse was that our mom knew, and out of fear of getting involved, because my sister apparently begged her not to say a word, she didn't tell me anything. Thankfully, my dad wasn't having it and he spilled the beans to me. And I've never been so angry in my life. Not only did I kick my fiance out and throw out his stuff, some of it in the trash, but I decided to hurt my sister in another way. Why not do the same for my fiance? Well, simple. She's my sister. We've always had a good relationship up until she decided to ruin it for months before my big day, which I allowed her to be a bridesmaid in, and you don't do that to anyone, let alone your sister, your blood. So, my sister is big on gardening, so when she lost her dog, she made a garden for him, and I knocked on her door. She didn't know that I knew, and of course, I played nice, and I moved on to what she did with my fiance, and I slightly damaged her garden. I honestly just crushed a couple of flowers. And am I sorry? No. But her excuse, though, sent me over the edge. She said, "It just happened." That's not a reason. Sleeping with my fiance just happened like that, I guess. I told her I didn't want her speaking to me anymore, and that I also didn't want our mom to speak to me. My fiance won't say a word since I threatened to call the police if he ever went near me again. And yes, I made my sister cry and scream at me, but I genuinely feel like I should be the one crying. She knew how important getting married was to me, and now I can't experience that. Pair that with the fact that I had to hear this from my dad, and not my bum excuse of a sister or fiance. Hell, even my own mother didn't say a word to me. It's like she lets my sister run her. F you, Tia. F you, Logan. If they ever see this, I'd be absolutely delighted. Edit. Since many people keep bringing it up, I'm upset that I lost the relationship I've always put 100% into. I was excited to get married, of course, but then this news came out, and it really hurt me. I didn't want to believe it at first, and I almost thought my dad was pulling my leg, and then it later turned out to be true, and I swear I have trust issues now. Edit number 2. Thanks again for all the suggestions, y'all. It's helping me feel more confident in exposing them. I'm just a bundle of nerves right now because I know crap's gonna hit the fan again, and when I do so, I'll try my best to come with an update. I mean, it's the least you guys deserve. Final edit. When I say I decided to hurt her, it's because I kinda ruined something so meaningful to her. I feel like for most people, besides on here, that would be a bit far. That's just how I feel though. I understand it's not what you guys wanted, and clearly worked a bit though since she thought I was so damn psychotic for that. Like I said, I don't feel sorry about hurting her that way. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "OP, you should expose your fiance and sister to everyone and ruin them, to be honest." I've actually debated on doing this after I got done dealing with my sister, but if anything, I can unblock her just to show her what other people in the world think of her trashy ass. Seriously though, I can't believe she did me like this. Then user 2 commented and said, "Expose them, OP. They will try and spin it differently and make you look like the bad guy. Tell all his family, your extended family, and mutual friends. Tell them that you have cut all contact with them and you wish not to be around them ever again." So far, his sister was the only one who reached out to me about this. She was in hysterics, asking me what the hell happened. She fully supports me in this, and I'm unsure about the rest of the family, but as of now, the only person I can even trust is my father. Probably her too. And finally, user 3 commented and said, "OP, this is horrible. When did this happen? And I can't believe your mother." I actually found out over the previous weekend. Under another comment, I wrote how my dad explained it to me. Supposedly, my sister decided to tell my mom. She obviously asked to keep her lips closed about it, and my mom apparently told my dad over the weekend, not right away, and then he told me. The thing is, I have no idea when the hell they even had sex. That wasn't made known to me or my parents, it seems. My sister could have kept the secret for God knows how long until she finally decided to come clean to my mother. For all we know, they could have done it months ago, maybe even several times. My fiance denied even sleeping with her more than once, but I'm finding it hard to believe him. A small part of me keeps trying to justify my mom's actions, but I can't seem to understand. She clearly didn't care. And finally, in the comments section, OP elaborated on canceling the wedding via social media and said, "I did make a post about apologizing for canceling the wedding, but I've turned off notifications because I kept getting a flood of messages asking what happened. So far, only his sister and my cousin know, and I couldn't bear to even say anything else to other people. At the time, I felt so sick, and these comments are giving me ideas though, and they're very tempting." Update. Hey everyone, seems like my other post has been deleted, but thanks again for the comments and support. I found out quite a bit, and to start off, I did expose her and my ex on my story. I unblocked them both just to tag them, and shout out to one of the commenters who wrote down what I should say. I saved it and wrote it, but added some other words of my own, and my ex actually blocked me after he saw my story. I then sent my Reddit post to my sister afterwards. At the time, she didn't see, but I got a call from my ex's mom. She was furious about everything, but she asked me how I was holding up, and if I've heard the news, and my heart sank a little because I honestly couldn't bear to hear any bad news. And I asked her what she was talking about, and she said, "So you haven't heard?" And I said no, and I asked her to tell me. Well, my sister's pregnant. Apparently, Logan told her in an attempt to make her chill out on my sister, and I didn't want to hear anymore, so I told her I needed to hang up the phone. Thankfully, she accepted because I literally burst into tears 2 seconds later. After 5 minutes of crying, my sister responded to my story and texted with the Reddit post link, and she was texting me in all caps, begging me to take it down. If I wasn't so upset, I would have laughed a little, but I just sat there watching her blow up my phone, and I got even angrier when she said, "I'm coming over and I'm telling mom that you're spreading my business online." Alright, you big baby, whatever. And still, I never responded. But I felt frozen. 30 minutes later, she's trying to break my door down, so I opened it in a fit of rage and I started screaming all kinds of crap at her. And she kept screaming at me to take it down, and I told her that's gonna stay up for as long as I wanted to. And she kept telling me she doesn't deserve all the online hate, and she even tried telling me that she's always been there for me through everything, and that she would have forgiven me if it was the other way around. That's when I punched her. A small part of me felt guilty. I'm not the fighting type, and that was probably evident in my last post, but she retaliated by saying, "It's not my fault Logan was tired of you." And that's when I told her that I hope she ends up like her dog, and that she deserves every bit of hate she's getting for ruining my relationship. I even apologized for not ruining her entire garden and her stupid face at first. And I know I'm wrong for saying this, but the entire time, she was playing the victim. She called me evil and told me to rot in hell, and she kept saying I was punishing her over a mistake. So I said to her, "You have no idea what you've put me through, and I know you would have done the same thing if you were the victim." And she kept crying and insulting me because all I've ever done was support you through everything, and you had the nerve to punch me in the face and allow strangers to bash me on the internet. And I told her she deserved it, and I don't want her talking to me ever again. And if she comes near me, I'm calling the police. And she kept saying I was being extremely unfair, and that she said she was sorry in her text messages, but I wasn't having it. I told her to tell mom I'm not talking to her again either. And she asked me if I was really going to cut her off like that, and I just wished her good luck with her unwanted child and told her to go home. That was the last time she walked off my porch. Anyway, I had to clean up my favorite vase, but it doesn't matter. At least they're out of my life. However, it's weird how sad I feel now. It's for my own good, but damn, I'll never experience the bond we had again. On the bright side, it seems like I've dodged 2 bullets. Thanks again though, everyone. Maybe I do need therapy. Edit. Just wanted to say that my dad called not too long ago asking me to take down every post, because according to my mother, my female dog sister is bawling her eyes out over mean people on the internet. As if I'm taking anything down. My dad's pissed about her pregnancy, but my mom continues to defend her by saying we need to chill out on her a little bit. This is why I'm not talking to her. Thanks again though, everyone. I'm exhausted and I need to worry about other things. Last update. 3 days later. Well, I've officially decided to go low contact with my dad today. Surprisingly, he wasn't that upset about it. However, he's still on team take down the posts, and that's why I made my decision. My mom wants nothing to do with me because if I wasn't going to respect the family, there's no point in trying to get to you, she says. Wow, it's almost like that's what I wanted. My cousin and my ex's sister have been supporting me though, and apparently my sister has had meltdown after meltdown because more people are slowly finding out about the affair, not only in person, but on the internet. She actually got into it with my cousin online, and according to my cousin, my sister keeps asking her to tell me to take down the posts because she's sorry, and she felt pressured into doing what she did. Last I even heard about my ex was from his sister, and she told me that they did speak, and although he's not ready for a child, he doesn't feel comfortable leaving my pregnant sister on her own. He also wants me to stop what I'm doing, but oh well, they're made for each other. Anyway, I've surprisingly been feeling a bit better thanks to my cousin and my new sister, as I like to call my ex's sister now, and I've actually gotten some good sleep. I'm still considering therapy too. A very tiny part of me feels pretty bad for exposing my sister and my ex, and I will always miss the relationship I've had with them, even despite my last encounter with my sister, but they've hurt me and it's what they deserve. If they're not taking it well, that's their problem. Thanks everyone once again. And finally, in the comments section, OP elaborated on how other people are reacting to the affair and said, "Speaking of her friends, I actually have no idea what they think about this, but I can assume they found out, of course. My sister is not taking this well, so I'm assuming they're pestering her with questions too. I have said this, my cousin has said this, and my ex's sister has also said this, that she can't be upset for the truth being exposed. She doesn't see past her delusion. She's clearly more worried about her reputation than my feelings, and I really don't know her anymore." All right, folks, let's get into this. We're starting off the video strong, good, juicy story, nice climax, good resolution, okay? If we can end with the therapy, I say we got an S-tier thing going on here. Now, but on a more serious note about the story, I feel like they deserve it. You know, the truth came out, and most of the time, the truth should probably come out. Not all the time, but most of the time. I'm really not sympathetic to the ex, and I'm not sympathetic to the sister, or the ex-sister, I should say, but maybe the garden thing was a bit too far. I thought she was going to say that she desecrated the dog's final resting place. Thankfully, it was just a few flowers, but, you know, the truth came out, and they kind of deserve that. You know, cheating is the type of thing that really can derail lives in certain ways and derail people's mental health and their personal well-being, and now OP has to go to therapy possibly over something she didn't do. But yeah, I really can't find myself sympathetic to either of them for doing what they did. Anyway, next story. Story number 2. I'm planning to ghost him after finding out he cheated on me. Final update. I found out my boyfriend was cheating a few weeks ago, and I've been spiraling since, literally only running off of vengeance and pure disgust. I got this weird gut feeling and checked his phone while he was asleep, and those 20 minutes locked in the bathroom felt like years, and the shame keeps me from talking to anyone about it. I moved across the country to be with him, so I'm all alone. No friends or family here. He woke me up the next morning with kisses and breakfast, and has been doing so a lot lately. Probably the guilt. He even bought me flowers for the first time ever, after me hinting at wanting them for years, and he thought my quiet crying was out of happiness. He even brought up buying a house for us, something with enough space for potential future children. Me, I'm still going through the motions, making his breakfast and protein shake every day, packing his lunch, making sure dinner is almost ready when he comes home from the gym. What makes me the angriest is that I really genuinely thought he wouldn't do something like this. He watched his father cheat on his mother and father children out of their marriage, all while she struggled with infertility her entire life. My partner isn't her biological son, and she never had her own. She dedicated her life to the two of them and passed away of ovarian cancer shortly before we met. Sometimes I think about whether she regretted staying with her husband or not, and we have a small shrine in her honor, and something makes me look back and expect guidance. I love the man she raised and hate the other one that her husband did, but they're both him, and he's a grown-ass man more than capable of self-control. So I decided to walk away. Next week, my car will be picked up and shipped back home, and I got first-class tickets for me and my dog on his dime. He'll come back home from work, and everything I brought will be gone. along with me. The only thing I think I might regret is not somehow being able to see his reaction when he walks through the door and realizes what's going on. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "I'm sorry you're going through this. It's the hardest thing to let go. As hopeless as it can feel sometimes, it does get better. Take your time in the beginning, but I think it's therapeutic to confront him eventually. Ghosting doesn't provide closure for you. In my experience, confronting the problem head on gave me a sense of closure. I try to take everything that happens in life as a lesson. Good luck with everything." Thank you, but I personally don't believe in closure. I got all that I needed when I realized he was untrustworthy. Then user 2 commented and said, "Do you have access to his phone and computer? Install a keylogger. Then you can not only see what he's saying to you, but to the other affair partners as well. I put a keylogger on my ex's phone and computer when I caught him cheating, and he was such a dummy, and seeing the crap he was saying, the lies he was spewing, made me grateful that I dropped his ass." I do, but I don't think it would make a difference for me. His entire relationships with the affair partners were lies. Everything from his name, age, college degree, occupation, city height, and chicken size. He even told one he was married and his wife was pregnant with twins. I almost had a heart attack thinking I was an affair partner too, and he had a family out there somewhere. Then user 3 commented and said, "If he can go after you, you should probably leave a note or a sign that you're leaving him because of his cheating. Seeing that you up and left without a known reason, from his point of view, might push him to follow you home. If he knows the reason and knows that he has no chance in hell getting you back, it might delay a possible confrontation." Thank you, you're right. I've been considering just leaving a sticky note with a list of all the different girls' names and the apartment key beside it. Simple and effective. And finally, user 4 commented and said, "Damn, multiple girls? Draw a little middle finger beside them while you're at it, and make sure there are little to no supplies, food, toiletries, cleaning stuff, and make sure to take them all and leave the house dirty so that he can appreciate how much you did for the a-hole." Yeah, there were 7 of them to be precise. I'll have to rush and get out within a certain time frame, but I might just settle for shrimp in the curtain rods. He's really sensitive to smells. Update: I lied to my boyfriend every day and saved the money that he gave me. Almost every day my boyfriend sends me money for lunch, gas, something, and I thought he was just really kind. Turns out he was cheating and giving me money, which made him feel less guilty, as though he didn't beg me to move across the country with him where I know nobody. Once I found out, I wanted to immediately confront him, but was scared of the outcome, since the apartment was only in his name. And again, I don't know anybody here. Now, I just save every dime of what he sends me to be able to pay for the $3,000 moving fees, to go back home without hurting my own pocket too much. Breaking my heart, destroying my ability to trust, and scaring me off from men, I can handle. But messing with my finances? No, never. The transport company is coming next Wednesday to take my car, and my plane tickets for me and my dog have been bought. I'm gonna keep up my happy act and do the usual, cooking of dinner and scrubbing his back, and poof on Wednesday like I never knew him. It's the only form of revenge I could do that wouldn't haunt me. Good riddance. Edit. A few people have asked for details. There are 7 other women, and everything he told them was a lie. Name, age, height, city, occupation, all of it. The only common denominator was that he bought us all the same exact lingerie set for his birthday in January, and specifically requested I hang it up in our closet where it's viewable. Forgiveness is not on the table. He'll be surprised, but I doubt he will be hurt. Then in the comments section, one user said, "I look forward to it, OP. And how did you find out, if it's not too personal?" I woke up randomly in the middle of the night, and he's up to no good was all I could think about. I sleep like a literal baby and never ever wake up like that. I took his phone and locked myself in the bathroom while he was asleep and found it all. Update number 2. Friendship breakups are so much worse than relationship breakups. I'll be single again pretty soon, and I'm looking forward to it, but also not. Like, yay, I finally can cook when and how I want and don't have to split chores and can do everything on my own way, but that's the only good part. I've been on my own since I was 16, and I've turned out mostly fine, and I have a paid-off house and car, cute dog, I'm debt-free, and I'm finishing up my master's degree at 25. It could be worse, but I'm lonely. I'm not on speaking terms with my family, and had a huge fallout with my lifelong friends a couple of years ago. I haven't tried making friends since because part of me hopes one day I can find a way to fix that friendship. Plus, I'm moving around so much that making friends is pointless. I'm not good at long-distance anything, and I never prided myself on romantic relationships. Sure, they're cool, but a loving group of women was always where I found the most peace and understanding, and that's what I want the most. I guess I'm just going through things right now, and I really wish I had people I trust to talk to. Friend breakups hurt the most. Then in the comments section, OP elaborated on how she had a house at such a young age and said, I lived with my friends and their parents until college started, and I already had a scholarship. Just worked 3 jobs until I was 22, and I lived frugally. Then one user commented and said, the math for time and money aren't working out on this end, but there is also a lot of variables and info that is missing. It took me 7 years to pay off my house, and I was contributing to it like it was an emergency. Qualifying for a home and paying it off in that amount of time without help seems nearly impossible. I'm so curious about the formula here. I need a lesson in finance from OP. When I broke it down, it just doesn't seem possible except from a financial windfall, counting even a frugal cost of living, along with an accounting for taxes paid, etc. And that did not include the cost for transportation, medical, groceries, blah blah blah. I'm curious, OP. The house was a $70K foreclosure and is a 4-bed and bath. I was a golf caddy, gentleman's club bartender, and an occasional hostess and notary signing agent, along with selling stationery items on Etsy. Also, my scholarships paid for quite a bit of my home in general. They never specified what kind of housing for them, just housing. I lived in 1 room and rented out the other 3. Then the same user replied again and said, that's the info I was looking for. Thank you. That is very smart. Good going, and good luck with your situation. I am so interested in how he reacts to your departure. Update number 3. My current relationship has made me realize the thin line between love and hate. I found out my boyfriend of almost 4 years was cheating. We've lived together for 2 years, and I'm leaving him tomorrow. He just doesn't know it yet, and won't until after I'm gone. As mad as I am, I feel betrayed. I still love him. All I really want is to wake up tomorrow and for this all to be a nightmare. I don't enjoy this slice of reality, that the person I loved the most has looked me in the eye and lied to me for who knows how long. And every time I do, I'm left wondering how many times he did it. How many times he wined and dined and effed other women and then came home to me? How many times have I been the stupid girlfriend who trusted her boyfriend blindly? How many times have I been some woman's laughingstock? Did he F us back to back? Did his friends know? Did they look me in the effing eye and really not say anything? Did he love them? How many times did he tell me he loved me and meant it? When did he stop meaning it? Did he ever mean it in the first place? I'm not a master manipulator. Unlike him, I'm just composed because I've never had any other choice. Emotions got you beat or worse when it came to my parents, and I'm more than aware I have a crap load of trauma to unpack, but I can't. Not in the self-pity, woe is me, it's too hard way, but no, I probably just can't. Therapists here are wildly westernized, and once I start with the short list, they'll probably just charge me double, maybe triple. And the last time I tried, he kept trying to convince me I enjoyed my own assault. Maybe I got cheated on because I'm emotionally inept. My intimacy levels are quite limited, and the few times he asked about my childhood, I either A, brushed him off, or B, told him one thing I thought wasn't that bad, and he was so shocked I held out on the actually bad parts. And that's where the hate comes in. He knows what it's like to grow up feeling unwanted. He knows what it's like to lose your parents young. He knows what it's like to feel like your entire life has been horrible event after horrible event. But he still did this to me, and I don't know how he could. I could never cheat on anyone, let alone someone who shared such personal things with me. I haven't so much as made eye contact with another man since we met. Other people were just other people, and we were us. And I don't know. I just don't see myself being able to date again. I had deep-seated trust issues long before this, and growing old by myself with 30 cats genuinely sounds nice. Hell, great even. At least I won't always be wondering when the betrayal will come. Update number 4. Leaving partner of 4 years after finding out he was cheating. The transport company came and picked up my car, sold whatever big furniture I brought for low prices, and I took his dog to the park and played with him a bit, got him a dog cupcake, and took him back to the apartment. Movers started coming for the rest of my stuff, and I hadn't prepared for our property manager thinking we were both moving out, and we hadn't given them the required vacancy notice. She came to talk to me right as my Uber was coming, and I told her what was going on. Unfortunately, they had already called him because only his name was on the lease. He's called and texted me a few times, but I haven't replied. His workday won't be over for a couple of more hours. I left my apartment keys and anything he's ever bought for me that I hadn't sold already, and I didn't feel like taking that stuff with me. And while packing, I remembered we bought a pet camera that shoots treats on the entertainment center, and I turned it back on. I promised myself I'll disconnect from it by midnight tomorrow, but I have my own predictions about how he will react, and I just gotta know for sure. Yeah, it's effed up, sue me. And I actually forgot to leave a note and was running out of time before my Uber came, and I just left the lingerie set he was so obsessed with on the bed. He'll figure it out eventually. Or not. Now I'm at the airport with my dog and just waiting on my flight. I wish I could say that I feel free, but I don't. Just tired. Thank you all for the well wishes, and thank you more to all the other women who reached out with similar stories. I think I might have caved and stayed if you all hadn't. Then in the comments section, one user said, "What did he say on the text message when they informed him that things were being moved out?" Just that he got a call from property management and asked if I ordered something big and if anything was going on. Small update. The pet camera. So, I turned it on for about 10 minutes after I got back to my home and unpacked, and he wasn't there, but everything was a mess. There was a hole in the wall, furniture flipped over, papers everywhere, the kitchen looked like a tornado went through it. I deleted all of my other social media accounts, but didn't block his number. The first 2 days, he called me over 200 times, lots of novel-ass text messages, and him admitting to some crap I didn't even know about yet. And quite a few calls from his dad and friends too, but I didn't reply to any of them. New update. Even though I have seen messages asking about an update, I didn't think anyone actually wanted one. Life just came full circle though, and I saw my posts on my TikTok For You page. And just a few things. I mentioned in a comment that I think his dad was the reason his mom passed away. Not in the straight-up serial killer kind of way, but the I cheated so much and gave my wife an STD that led to her getting HPV. And since I didn't allow her to get medical treatment, she ended up infertile with cervical cancer and died sort of way. Of course, no one will ever know that for sure, but I doubt it helped any. And my ex had always claimed he did not respect his father as a man due to it. He is their biological nephew, not son. When I found out he was cheating, forgiving him was never an option, because I have no interest in following his mom's footsteps. And I did not have any signs. Besides that, a few months in, he locked down his social media because he didn't want to get passed up on a promotion due to politics. I did ghost everyone we mutually knew for a month or two until I could figure out who I could and couldn't trust to not tell him my new socials, phone number, address. I never blocked his number, but I never replied to any of his messages or calls, and they eventually died out 2 or so months later. Well, he ended up finding out anyway, and I moved again, out of state this time. At the last place, he showed up at 7 a.m., and I saw him on my Ring doorbell looking around and showing my photo to people. One of my idiot neighbors confirmed I lived there, down to my dog's name, and he kept coming every day after that. And I kept finding letters addressed to me that were obviously from him, and they said a lot of things that I didn't know, but nothing that could ever make me move past what he did. I moved before I ever saw him face to face, and a few of his friends reached out after my second move, telling me about some erratic behavior of his going on, but I ignored them too. Not my man, not my problem. I've been asked out on some dates, but no thanks. I'm too fragile and trusting for the effed up morals some of these men have, and there's nothing about being in a relationship that I miss. I know I'm probably supposed to say that I hope he gets the help he needs and finds happiness, but I don't. I will have lifelong trauma from what he did, so at the least he can have lifelong regrets. Most importantly, I found a great group of women that feel like family and are always there for me. I'm happier than I have been in years, and I'm just thankful I got out before I got pregnant or married and was tied to him forever. I forget he exists most days now, and I didn't even think it was possible. I hope this suffices. Thank you, Redditors. Edit. I did get tested again, and did test positive for Trich, which I did not even know existed beforehand, but all cleared up now though. Also, I never did reach out to those other women, mostly because they used our relationship to bond, and they all knew he had a girlfriend, and some he even lied to and said we were married. 3 of the other women were in committed relationships as well, so whoever's social media I couldn't find, I did message their boyfriends and husbands. So we read this story somewhat recently, and now we're reading an update because we do that on this channel, and pretty much like I said last time, she seems like she's got a good head on her shoulders. She's smart, you know, she's well educated, she made that bread, but I mean, she's got emotional turmoil and trauma, and she knows it though, I'll give her that. And I don't want to say it's crippling her, but I mean, it seems to be impacting her heavily. As she said, it's going to affect her for the rest of her life. And she mentioned she's somewhere where it's difficult to get to a therapist. I don't know if that applies to where she lived prior and where she lives now, but I'm hoping that she addresses or overcomes what was done to her by her parents, which she briefly mentioned, and also what the ex did. Instead of just living with all of that for the rest of her life, I'm hoping she can get rid of some or most of that burden. I remember we read a story recently about a guy who couldn't afford therapy, so he bought a whole bunch of books and looked inwards, took those exercises and found what applied to him and was like, okay, I can't afford therapy, but I'm going to improve myself. And I just want OP to improve herself because, I mean, God, she's got some stuff going on. But she's out from the ex. That's good. He cheated with 7 people. Good God, how do you get away with 7 women? Like, that sounds exhausting. Anyway, next story. Story number 3. I lied to my daughter, and I feel awful. My daughter was in a serious accident today, and she was in surgery for 6 hours trying to repair her leg. The doctors came out and said the vascular system in her lower leg is failing, and more than likely, they will have to amputate. She plays multiple sports and is a very active person, and she looked at me when coming out of surgery and asked if everything was okay, and I told her everything will be fine, and the look of trust she gave me broke my heart. The doctors want to wait until tomorrow to make the final judgment on if her leg can be saved, and I can't help but feel like I failed her as a parent. She trusts me to be honest with her, and I couldn't do it. Tomorrow is going to be one of the worst days of my life. Then in the comments section, one user said, OP, your daughter's life is going to change, but she's going to live, and that's the most important thing. Losing a limb does not mean she can't be involved in sports. Plenty of athletes have recovered from injuries and loss of limbs to continue being an athlete. Will it be difficult? Yes, but it can be done. As long as you and your daughter believe it can be done. My prayers are with both of you. Thank you. I want everyone to know that while I'm not responding yet, I am reading every response, and appreciate everyone taking the time to write. My oldest daughter is flying in, and I am at the airport picking her up. She is a specialist in orthopedic trauma and is going to help us navigate the day. I'll update more later when something is definitive. Update number 1. Thank you so much for all the kind words. They have helped tremendously. As stated below, the doctors have decided to amputate her leg. We broke the news and she took it better than I thought she would. She had suspicions as she had no feeling in her lower leg, and it was turning colors and just the basic severity of the injury. It was gruesome. They were set to have amputation surgery this morning, but her vitals didn't do well overnight, and they didn't feel she is strong enough to have that major of surgery, so they will put it off until tomorrow. I understand the medical side of it, but it was crushing for her to get prepared mentally for today, then just have the rug pulled out from underneath you. I have started looking at the resources a lot of people have mentioned, and thank you for those suggestions. I have a bit of time to look at stuff as she sleeps quite a bit. More updates when it seems relevant. Update number 2. Hi, I'm sorry for the late update. After my daughter's leg amputation, everything became a blur for the next couple of months. But she is an incredible warrior, and her surgery went well. She impressed the doctors and staff so much that they allowed her to come home 3 days after the surgery, and I was expecting a couple weeks at the earliest. She had a couple of setbacks and had to have a procedure done to clean out an area that wasn't healing properly, but nothing is stopping her from living her life. We have went to ball games and concerts together, and getting her home user-friendly has taken some time, but a lot of wonderful people have volunteered their time to make it happen. At this point, she spends part of the time at her place and some at ours, and she's learning to drive a vehicle with modified controls and is starting the process to get her prosthetic. She participated in a mile walk at a festival a couple of weeks ago, and she finished it. She was last, but hell, she did it on crutches, and I couldn't have been more proud. And she has plans to enter a 5K in November, and I will be there cheering or walking with her if she will have me. The only negative is the insurance companies and her workplace. She went from short-term disability to long-term, as she isn't quite able to get back to work yet because of her doctor appointments, and the state hasn't certified her to drive yet. Her work sent her a notice that her insurance is canceled as soon as she goes on long-term disability, and she will have to pay for the insurance out of her own pocket. So now we are scrambling for solutions. And after looking through all her medical bills, I can see why people file for bankruptcy. A big thank you for all the people that reached out with support and suggestions. You have no idea how much they are appreciated. And if I have more news, I will update again. Thank you. Story number 4. My 24F fiance, 29M, was sent a not safe for work video of me, and I need advice. I, 24F, have been with my fiance, 29M, for 4 years, and we have our wedding planned for this November. I don't know exactly when it happened, has to have been recently, but someone DM'd him a video of me from before we even met, or either of us even knew each other. It's embarrassing, but without getting into too much detail, it was a video of me sleeping with 3 men. It is very obviously me in the video, and it would be impossible for him to think it was anyone else. As far as I know, it was from an anonymous Instagram account, but it's been hard to get info. When we started dating, we never really talked about previous sex lives or anything, but I knew that I was his first girlfriend, and he knew that he was not my first boyfriend. He did not know about this, as I guess I didn't feel it was relevant or worthwhile to tell him. He confronted me on Monday about it and has been very upset since. We had been living together, but he has moved in with a friend because he said he needed some time to think. And when he confronted me, he flat out asked me how many men I had slept with, and I was honest with him and told him 8. He asked if I had ever cheated on him, and I said no, which is true. And the thought of doing that had never even crossed my mind. Honestly, I was and am pretty hurt by how he reacted because I have always been faithful to him, and I am deeply in love with him. He said he thinks I might be using him because he has a high salary, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I tried explaining that to him, but I don't know if he believes me. I was going through a very weird and very tough time in my life when that video was recorded, and I know it was a bad idea, but it's not like I can undo it or anything, and I guess I'm worried he's going to break up with me over this, and I would really like advice from the community on how to handle moving forward with this situation. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "There's not much you can do, OP. While we are usually aware our partners have a sexual history, it can be hard to handle when it's shoved in our face. I hope he recognizes, though, that you both love him and are faithful to him, and he's able to process it. But definitely keep an eye on anyone who has been muted about your marriage to him suddenly popping up. It's helpful to know who's trying to sabotage you." Then user 2 commented and said, "First, you need to figure out which of the 3 guys did it. Contact a lawyer and file police reports because this is a sex crime. There needs to be consequences for them so they don't do it again in the future. Now, about your fiance, there is really not much more you can do. Remind him it was in the past. It was a bad period of your life and you regret doing it. But honestly, seeing your significant other on camera having sex with just 1 person is tough. With 3, well, I can't even imagine, especially because you are this guy's first girlfriend and probably hasn't done those things in the past. Are you doing anything in that video that you haven't done with him? Moaning louder than you usually do? Do the guys have bigger chickens? Because even if just one of those things are the case, then you've got a big uphill battle to climb, unfortunately. Do I think you can salvage this relationship? Possibly. I don't know, but the ball is in his court. I have a lawyer and I am working with the police at this point. And yes, I'm doing a number of things in the video that I haven't done with my fiance." Then user 3 commented and said, "This is about the lying, not the sex. Yes, you should have disclosed your entire sexual past early in the relationship. I have participated in consensual taboo sexual experiences that I told my wife about a month into our relationship, and she took a minute to absorb the information, asked questions, and we moved on. So, you lied by omission, but did you lie by commission? For instance, did he ask you anything like, what's the most out-of-this-world sex thing you've done, and you failed to mention the orgy? Another issue may be feeling jilted. Did he ask you if you were open to a threesome or swinging? If so, did you say no to avoid having to admit your experience with that kind of sex?" To answer your question, he has never asked me to do a threesome, or asked if I was interested in them. I honestly don't know how I would have reacted if he did. I probably would have just told him, but I guess it would be dependent on the conversation. We never had a sexual history conversation, so I assumed he wasn't interested. I think that's a fair assumption, and given that, I didn't want to force the information onto him, and I didn't think he wanted to know. I wasn't purposefully trying to hide it from him, I just didn't think he wanted to know, so I didn't tell him. If he wanted to know, I would have told him. Then OP elaborated on why she never brought up the incident and said, "It was just never something that came up, and I guess I thought it would have been awkward to bring up myself. And I totally understand you feeling that way, but I didn't think he cared, but he obviously does. And I know now it was a bad decision." Then OP elaborated on seeking the people who leaked the video and taking legal action and said, "It was all before I knew my fiance, and I haven't spoken to any of the people involved in years. I don't know where it could have come from, and I would like to pursue something, but I don't have the video and never had it. The video was taken with my consent. It was a bad decision, I understand that. Like I said in the post, we never talked about previous sexual history, but he knew I had exes, so I guess he assumed that meant he knew I'd had an amount of sex before. Obviously, I wouldn't expect him to think of that as the same as this, but I just wish he gave me a better opportunity to explain myself. Then OP elaborated on the foursome in the video and said, I regret doing it, and I was in a bad place when I did it though. And I guess it would make more sense to me if I knew him when I had done this, but I didn't even know him then, and I haven't spoken to any of the other participants in years. If the roles were reversed, I would have enough trust in him to not immediately jump to accusing him of cheating. It would obviously be on my mind, but I'd let him explain himself. Update. It's been a while since I posted, but I got a lot of comments from my original post, so I figured I would provide an update. Since my last post, we did have a few conversations, but none ever really went anywhere, as it basically boiled down to him saying he didn't think he would be able to spend the rest of his life with someone who could do something like that. I tried to explain to him that it was a mistake and something I would never even consider doing again, but it didn't really seem to matter to him, I guess. Obviously, he is free to make his own decisions about his life, but it's just devastating to me that this happened. I was, and I still am, crazy in love with him, and it's all gone because of something that happened before I even knew he existed. So, I guess pretty short update. I haven't spoken to him for about a month because there's really nothing else to say to him, I guess. A lot of people have asked me to post an update at the time of the original post, and I guess I was just getting around to it now. Thanks for reading. Now, here are some more relevant comments. User 1 said, any luck finding out who sent the video? One of the 3 dudes who has a crush on you and wanted to torpedo your wedding, maybe? Whoever did it committed a crime against you, and I hope they are discovered. It's totally not fair, but I guess you will have to disclose this encounter with future serious relationships and tell them that that video might be sent to them as revenge. Sorry this is happening, and you are still so young, but you can overcome this. Thank you. I did not have any luck finding out who sent it. No, which is an extra punch in the gut on top of all of this. It's scary to think that's still out there, and whoever sent it probably will again the next time I get involved with someone. Then user 2 commented and said, I'm going back through your account history, OP, and this sucks to hear. I think trying to look at your story and putting myself in your fiance's shoes, I'd find it hard to see a video like that, especially if I didn't know it happened beforehand. But I guess the worst part on your end is that you're actually the victim of a crime, and he didn't support you in that. Someone sent a revenge video to your ex with the obvious hopes of ruining your relationship, and he fell for it. You shouldn't be punished for decisions you made in your past as far as I'm concerned. Thank you for saying that. I really am trying to see it from both sides, but it's just hard for me, you know? I know we have to live with our choices, but I just hate that literally one bad decision has effed everything up. And finally, user 3 commented and said, there should be a way to track who sent it through the video's metadata, or at the least from whatever email, account, or phone number sent it. The guys in the video could be suspects. What have the investigators said? And I'm really sorry that this has done so much damage to you and your relationship with your fiancé. Honestly, the police did not seem interested in helping me when I brought this up to them, and that was very disheartening for me, so I guess I didn't pursue it much after that. Update. I posted more about this back when it was happening, but I guess I never found this subreddit, so I wanted to post on here too. About 5 months ago, an anonymous Instagram account DM'd my ex-fiancé a very explicit video of me that was taken before I even knew him, and it caused him to break up with me. Since then, we've had some back and forth, but recently, I think it's officially over, and I'm having trouble knowing what to do next. I'm trying to be understanding of his point of view, as no one would want to see someone they love like that, but at the same time, I feel like I am also a victim here from that kind of thing being shared, and I also feel hurt that he wasn't in my corner defending me from that. From the various discussions we've had, he has said that he simply can't see himself spending the rest of his life with me after seeing the video, and that he feels like I misled him by not bringing that up, that I had done something like this when we first started dating. I totally understand he's allowed to feel how he feels, but at the same time, it was from before I even knew him, and I realized it was a mistake almost immediately, and have never had any desire to do something like that again. And it's also not like I was purposefully hiding it from him or lied about it or anything. The topic just never came up, and it's not like I'm going to drop something like that on someone. Or maybe I should have, and that would have made it better. I don't know. I know it's cliche or whatever, but I really feel like he was the one for me. And now it's over, and I have no chance with him anymore. He pretty much shut me out after this happened. But I still managed some conversations, but that's pretty much over now. I tried to pursue legal action about the video being sent, and he was helpful with that, I guess. And I was hopeful that might change his mind or something, but it didn't. And my pursuit didn't go anywhere either, as I didn't really have anything, and he deleted the video shortly after it was sent. I guess I feel like I'm rambling, but I feel totally lost right now, and could use any advice from anyone on here who would be willing to give it. This is the first real breakup I've had, and I get things get better with time, I guess, but I'm just having a hard time accepting it's over right now. Then in the comments section, one user said, "I think now you need to focus on who has the video and how you can get it deleted. If you were under 18 at the time, you can approach the men and tell them to delete it in front of you or call the police." Did your ex ever bring up or ask about threesomes during your relationship? If so, that might be why he felt misled. I was not underage in the video, and I tried pursuing it with police, but that was frankly a very embarrassing situation, and I will likely not do that again. And also, threesomes were never a topic of discussion between us, no. Then user 2 commented and said, "Have you reached out to the 3 guys? Did you know you were being recorded and consented? How was your sex life with your ex, by the way? Was it fairly vanilla?" I have not reached out to them and hadn't for a number of years. I wasn't friends with them anymore by the time I met my now ex-fiance. And yes, I knew and consented to being recorded. Like I said, it was a terrible idea, and I regretted it almost immediately. I had requested them to delete it, and they said they did, but apparently not. My ex and I had a very good sex life as well that we were both very happy with. Then user 3 said, "OP, what was your relationship with these guys like at the time? Were or did you date any of them?" I was friends with them for a while, and no, we did not date. Then user 4 commented and said, "Had you hooked up with any of them more than one time? Was there one guy who was more persistent?" No, it was just that one time. Update. Fiance ended it. This was kind of a long time coming, I guess, but it's become officially recently, which led to me finding this subreddit, I guess. And I had been with him for 4 years and was so crazy in love with him, and now I don't even know what to do because it was such a bad breakup, I can't even talk to him anymore or anything. Does anyone have any advice or anything? I know it's cliche or whatever, but I feel like he really was the one for me, and now I won't find anyone else to be with, you know? I'm trying to stay positive, but I don't even know how to do that, I guess. Sorry for the rambling, but it's been an emotional morning for me, I guess. Thanks for reading. And finally, one user in the comment section said, "This is awful. I'm so sorry, OP. This is doubly frustrating since you said the police aren't even interested and no legal options are available for you. I will say that a person that ended an engagement with you due to this wasn't your person. A lot of people will disagree with me, but I'll take it to my dying grave that you should never have to hide aspects or pieces of past from your lifelong partner. A partner should accept your mistakes, your regrets, and your faults. A partner should know you'll do right by them and yourself. If they can't, then it wasn't the right pairing. Your ex has his standards. That's fine, but that simply means he wasn't right for you. The pain in your heart won't accept that yet, but you'll move on. You'll find someone else. I'm wishing you the best." Thank you for saying that. It's just hard because if that never happened, I would be getting married to the love of my life in like 2 months. I know everyone is allowed to feel how they want to feel, and it was probably traumatic for him too, but I'm just devastated with the way everything went down, and I never would have thought this would happen. This was a tough story. I don't think we've gotten anything like this before, and it's really concerning that she can't reasonably track down who sent the video or who still has it, so I'm not really sure what the next steps are regarding that. Maybe tracking the 3-4 guys down and being like, "Hey, we need to talk," or something. And also about the ex-fiance, I don't necessarily blame him. I think, as some of the commenters have pointed out, like, that's stuff you really don't want to see of your partner. I'm not shaming OP or blaming OP or anything, but that's the kind of stuff that changes the way you see your partner permanently, whether people in those comment sections want to admit it or not. And for some people, the weight of that revelation is just understandably too much. But if you guys disagree, you guys are free to do so. And also, as pointed out, OP is a victim here. And it's unfortunate because her fiance left her during this event, but this event is also why he left to begin with. So it's unfortunate all around. This is just one of those stories where there's not a happy ending, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get an update down the line. I'm really hoping she finds out who sent that video. But anyway, next story. Story number 5. I think I destroyed our relationship trying to compliment my boyfriend. My boyfriend and I are both 28 years old and have been together for 2.5 years. Yesterday night we were drinking and one thing led to another, and I tried to compliment him by saying he is not someone I would hook up with or be a friends with benefit with, but would marry. And I thought everything was fine, but he seemed extremely distraught after that. And I realized how he understood it and tried to clarify it, but he is still the same this morning. He told me he needs space to think for a while and left the house. And all my friends tell me I messed it up, and guys are telling me it's not a compliment and most men will understand it differently. I think I destroyed our relationship and I am panicking right now. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, OP, why would you even say that? Then user 2 commented and said, rookie mistake. You were supposed to be saying dumb crap like this in high school, so you wouldn't mess up here. Then user 3 said, I completely understand what you were trying to say, but as all the other commenters here have pointed out, what you've actually said is something along the lines of, I've hooked up with better people who are more my type before. Then user 4 said, I think you meant to say he is too good, but it sounds like he is bad. Then user 5 commented and said, I'll be 100% honest, as I would with any guy friend I have. What you said and how you said it makes it look like you had your fun and got to F the cool guys you'd just went for sex, and then after that you decided to go to him because he's the safe option. It's a great way to emasculate him and make him feel as nothing more than the safe choice. And finally, user 6 commented and said, I don't think it's even that gendered. A guy saying to a girl, I probably wouldn't F you outside of a committed relationship would probably not go well either. It's like that guy who was getting clowned on Twitter for saying, I don't know why you all compliment your wife for being beautiful. I compliment mine for being a great mom. Update. There were too many comments and messages for my first post. I wanted to reply to them, but there were just too many. However, I made sure I read a good amount of them. Firstly, I want to explain my point of view and what I meant by that compliment. I wanted to tell him I wouldn't let him go with just a hookup or a friends with benefits situation. I wanted more with him, basically. But I understand my wording with that compliment was terrible. I find him attractive so much. Now back to the events. He didn't come home for 3 days straight, and after coming back, we had a discussion about what happened. He told me he felt terrible after I said it to him, and I explained my point and what I meant with that compliment. Also, I assured him that I love him and I find him attractive, and we both said sorry, and I thought things calmed down, and I made sure to show that I love him and find him attractive with my actions. However, he seemed a bit weird, even during sex. It was like he was somewhere else. Last weekend, he came to me and told me he doesn't see the relationship in the same way, and how he tried to overcome how he felt, but he just cannot shake the feeling. He said how he didn't want to throw away a 2.5-year relationship and wants to try everything. So we are going to start couples counseling next week. My 2 close friends told me the relationship is probably over, and he is trying his best to just deny it right now. So that is it. I don't know what will happen, but I don't want to lose him. Now here are some more relevant comments. User 1 said, it's great that you're both willing to try counseling and work through this. Communication and effort from both sides are crucial, and seeking professional help is a positive step. Then user 2 commented and said, it's hard to overcome this, but at this point, they are doing their best to keep the relationship alive. That's all you can ask for. Then user 9 commented and said, I think the relationship is cooked, to be honest. And finally, user 10 replied, yeah, it's cooked like an over-fried turkey that burnt down the garbage. Well, do you have different opinions about this story and the last story, or the same opinions? One thing I didn't mention, which, I mean, let's be honest, I mention it all the time, was therapy. We had a story the other day recently about someone throwing away a 4, 5, 6-year relationship over a pretty small thing and not even wanting to fight for it. And the fiance in the previous story did not want to go to couples counseling, but also, as I mentioned, sometimes it's just too heavy of a thing that you feel like you can overcome. So it feels like in this story, it seems like maybe he's at his breaking point, but it hasn't broken him completely. Like maybe he can hold that, and he's trying to see if he can in couples counseling. So each situation was different, but there's definitely a lot of overlap here. And I guess it just depends on, again, how heavy the slight is. I guess slight isn't the appropriate word. How heavy the bombshell is, and if you can carry that or not. And if you think you can carry that, then maybe try couples counseling with your partner. Anyway, that's what I think. Next story. Story number 6. Will I be the a-hole if I don't tell my new girlfriend that I slept with her sister before we met? So, I have a new girlfriend and we've been together for 6 months. She recently went on vacation with her family, and when she got back, she showed me some pictures they took, and I recognized her sister. See, her sister and I used to be friends with benefits back in college. It was nothing serious and it didn't even last too long, like less than 3 months, and this happened about 2 years ago. I didn't know this was her sister because I never knew what her sister's last name was. Now, here's the part where I'm feeling a bit conflicted. See, she has a male friend who's made me a bit uncomfortable with how close he is to my girlfriend, and he's a bit of an F-boy. I tried to talk to my girlfriend about it and asked if she ever fooled around with him. It wasn't a deal breaker, but I still wanted to know, and she said, "The past is the past. I'm not going to tell you what I did before, and I don't want to know what you did before me." And I'm feeling a bit conflicted because of this. I feel like I should tell her because I'm sure the sister would tell her either way, but this may be the petty part of me talking. She said she doesn't want to know, and the past is the past, right? Then in the comments section, one user said, "OP, you should probably say something like, I know that you said you don't want to know, but hypothetically, if I had hooked up with your sister in the past, would you still not want to know? And if she wants the deets, then demand she answers your question before you give them to her." Maybe, but I think my girlfriend would demand an answer as to why I'm asking this. And finally, user 2 commented and said, "Yeah, this relationship is going to go great. Sheesh." Update. Things did not go well when I tried to tell her. I asked her if she remembered what she told me about past sexual experiences, and she got mad at me, and she said, "I already told you the past doesn't matter." I tried to tell her this was really important, and she told me that she promised herself she wasn't going to be with someone who's insecure about who she slept with, or her body count, and she told me that I needed to grow up, and I just blurted out, "I slept with your sister." And after some silence, I explained everything, and how this was before we met. And she took it, it's not that good. We had a long talk about how comfortable she would feel, what would happen when I met her family, what if her parents found out, what if the rest of her family did? Could she really handle being at the altar with me in front of her and her sister next to her, knowing me and her slept together? And she told me she just felt gross now. And she told me that she didn't know if she could shake this feeling off, so we decided to break up. And I don't know, this was just a mess. Then in the comments section, one user said, "You did the upstanding thing by telling her. If she comes back and it works out, great. If you stay broken up, better to know that now and not 2 years from now." I don't know, I'm kind of pissed. I don't think I'd want to get back together. I mean, I didn't like the way she acted when she thought I was asking about her sexual past and how she broke up with me because of mine, and I don't know, this kind of hypocrisy just rubs me the wrong way. Then user 2 commented and said, "The truth set you both free. You couldn't deal with the secret and she couldn't deal with hearing it. Done deal, time to move on." Then user 3 commented and said, "Sorry, mate, that's the kind of feeling you can only really confront in the moment, saying sexual history doesn't matter, and meaning it doesn't mean something paradigm shifting won't change your mind later. There are loads more of women out there whose sisters you haven't slept with." And finally, user 4 said, "Good for you for having this conversation with her. I doubt you would have been comfortable with carrying this knowledge alone. Decision made for you. Wishing you the best going forward." Well, do you have different opinions about this story and the last story and the story before that? Or do you have the same overlapping opinions? Because I don't think we've ever had 3 consecutive stories with really overlapping themes, provided they're all for different reasons and you have to employ nuance, which can be hard sometimes on the internet, but we have a smart comment section here on Really Sparked. But I don't know what to say here. I think the ex-girlfriend did reveal some hypocrisy in her logic, mainly because, I'm gonna be honest, she probably slept with the guy and just didn't want to tell OP. And, you know, also she was still hanging out with the guy, which could usually sometimes lead to problems. We've seen it happen on this channel. And then he employs her logic and she's like, "Oh my god, I feel gross." And I understand why, because that's her sister, but it's just 3 times. Wow, one after the other. Anyway, next story. Story number 7. Am I the a-hole for using my girlfriend's high school poetry to write an amazing song? Hey guys, I just learned about this subreddit from my girlfriend and was hoping for some input because she won't talk to me right now. And I hope she sees this and understands that she's being really dramatic right now. My girlfriend is an incredible poet, and she's been writing since she was in elementary school and has won contests and awards. Well, I'm a musician, so it works out perfectly. I can write good melodies and sing well, but I suck with words. My girlfriend helped me write a couple of songs last summer, and my followers loved them, and I played them live too. So, we moved in together in March, which seems a little soon, I know, but once the current situation hit, we said F it and had her move in with me because her parents are a-holes, like status crap level. Anyway, as I was helping her unpack her stuff at my place, I noticed a really old shoebox. As I started to open it, my girlfriend freaked out and snatched the box from me, and I laughed, asking what was so special about it, because she was acting like she saw a ghost, and she got super defensive and told me it was bad poetry she wrote in middle school and high school, and she's only holding onto it for sentimental value, and she doesn't want anyone to see it. I tried to convince her to let me read it, but it just made her more mad, so I dropped it. I couldn't stop being curious, though. It was like that shoebox started to taunt me, and I eventually waited until she went to work from home on her laptop in the spare bedroom to finally go through all the notebooks. Some of it was really cringe, yeah, but some of it seriously was just as good as her current writing. So all throughout last week, I started working on a new song based on her old poetry, and the song turned out awesome. So I posted the SoundCloud link to all of my social media accounts, and my fans adored it. And I showed her the good reception it was getting so she could see how incredible of a teen poet she was, and she flipped the F out. She threatened to take me to court for plagiarism if I didn't take it down right away, which I did, but now she's telling me to take down the other two songs she helped write because she can't look at me right now, she says. All I did was show her how talented she's always been, and now she's messaging all of her friends looking for a couch to crash on. I really love this girl. I don't want her to leave. I've apologized, but she says I'm full of it. Hopefully some honest internet feedback will help her understand this isn't worth losing a good thing over. So, am I the a-hole here, guys? Edit. I think you guys are being way too harsh and should hear the song before judging. I'll upload it again and link it when I get a chance because right now my PC is busted and my mobile data is too crappy to do it with. Now here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "Oh, sweet summer child, where to start? Oh yeah, you're the a-hole. You said, I hope she sees this and understands she's being really dramatic right now. Oh boy, that is not how you achieve that. You're the a-hole. She told you not to look at it, made that perfectly clear, and you waited until she turned her back so that you could disregard her wishes. It's clear you never even considered respecting her demand of privacy. You're the a-hole. You took it one step further and took the one thing she didn't want to share, even to her boyfriend, and you shared it on SoundCloud? You're the a-hole. And quick mention for the some of it was really cringe part that you said, wow, just to bring her down a bit more. Sorry for not sugarcoating it, but you are a massive a-hole. If I were her, I would never be able to trust you ever again. This was one of the most narcissistic am I the a-holes I've read in a long time. And again, you are the a-hole." Then user 2 commented and said, "OP, you said that you eventually waited until she went to work from home on her laptop in the spare bedroom so that you can finally go through all the notebooks. You're the a-hole." Jesus Christ, dude. You snooped in stuff she explicitly told you not to, then recorded it and published it on all of your social media. "All I did was show her how talented she's always been." Nope. Here's what you did. Teach her she can't trust you, disrespect her wishes, invade her privacy, publish her private thoughts and words without her permission, publish her words as your own. You're a huge gaping a-hole. Also, do not upload the song here and further violate her and disrespect her wishes. You have to be a troll. The song doesn't matter. It could be freaking Bohemian Rhapsody and it wouldn't change a damn thing. Edit. The mods messaged me and told me I can't post the link, which I will respect. Also, apparently I got the Poop Knife Award, the Facepalm Award, and the Yikes Award on Reddit, whatever the hell that means. Then after that, the consensus was that OP was the a-hole. Then in the comments section, OP's girlfriend showed up and said, "I normally only lurk this subreddit, but then I saw this post. After spending the last 30 minutes seeing red because this dumpster fire of a musical genius is my pathetic, now ex-boyfriend, I told him to edit that into the post, but he probably won't do it, I decided to make a throwaway account and hijack the top comment in order to get my 2 cents in. OP, you are the a-hole, and I'm glad I showed you this subreddit because everyone here described you exactly as you are, a selfish narcissist who disregards my privacy just like the parents I wanted to get away from. But thankfully, my best friend, not you, has finally responded to my text messages, and now her and her husband are on their way to pick me up. As you know by now, my crap is almost done being packed. Also, your song sucked. Not my cringe poetry. Of course, it was that bongo drum solo that truly made me die inside, and if you re-upload that crap, you will absolutely see me in court.
Delete the other 2 songs as well, or you will hear about it from me later. Oh, and can you please clean out those damn litter boxes? Your entire apartment smells like cat turds. Kick rocks.
Then user 3 commented and said,
You go, girl. Good on you for kicking his ass to the curb. I'm so glad that you know your boundaries and have put your foot down. You're so much better off without this a-hole dragging you down. Good luck with everything.
Then the girlfriend replied and said,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Then user 4 commented and said,
How much time did you waste with him before he showed his true colors? I'm curious. More time than I care to admit.
And finally, user 5 said,
Gotcha. More than 10 seconds. My convalescences. The choice may have been easy, but everything else isn't.
Edit. Well, apparently my girlfriend saw this and left a comment of her own. Her friends are going to be there in an hour, and I keep telling her I'm sorry, but she's basically pretending I'm a ghost now. It kinda sucks.
What an idiot! I'm pointing and laughing. What a stupid...
Story number 8. I, 30F, promised my dying friend that I would frequently visit her disabled son, 50M. Now my husband, 30M, wants to move across the country, but I feel too guilty. When I was in college, I got a job looking after an elderly couple's middle-aged disabled son, John, on afternoons and some weekends. John is unable to take care of himself and requires constant supervision, but he is an overall very pleasant person. I grew up with 2 severely disabled siblings, so I am quite comfortable with John. I don't have any formal caretaking experience, and because Jan and Jerry were retired, I was almost never completely alone with John. They took on the heavy lifting, so to speak, but they liked to have me around so that they could have the freedom to run errands by themselves, go on walks, take naps, etc. Caring for John was truly a full-time job, and hiring me helped me to lessen the burden. They were extremely kind people. They paid me well and treated me like family. Over time, I grew very close to Jan, Jerry, and John, and I brought over meals for them every week and we would eat together. It stopped being about the compensation, although they did compensate me generously, and this whole situation went on for about 4 years. Once I graduated college, I stopped working for them formally, but still spent time with them regularly. Around this time, Jerry passed away. Jan and I remained close, and I went back to assisting her with John on a part-time basis, even though I had a full-time job at this time. John is Jan and Jerry's only child, and all of their other siblings are either dead or live far away. And they had many close friends from church around the community, but it was still difficult to find Jan the support she needed. And about a year after Jerry passed away, Jan was diagnosed with cancer. She continued to care for John full-time, even while battling cancer and undergoing treatment. But eventually, as her disease continued to progress, she moved John to live in a full-time assisted living center. Towards the end of her life, we visited him together, and she expressed her fear that he would have no visitors and become depressed after she passed away. She asked me if I would continue to visit him frequently, and I agreed, and she told me this was her only dying wish. Jan passed away over 3 years ago, and I have remained a part of John's life ever since. I visit his care facility that is over an hour away at least twice a week, because it is important to me to uphold my promise to Jan. However, my husband recently received a once-in-a-lifetime job offer across the country. We are talking thousands of miles away, and I'm so happy for my husband, but I can't seem to get this awful pit out of my stomach. If it wasn't for John, I would have absolutely had no hesitation moving away, but I can't let go of my overwhelming guilt. John really does have no other visitors. If he's lucky, a church friend will come once every 6 months or so. If I leave, he will be alone. Yes, he has caretakers, but they care for dozens of people each day. Most of the other patients in this care facility are far less amicable and pleasant than John is. So he has difficulty making friends, and the personal connection is just not there. And without it, I worry he will regress. I really don't know if I can move across the country in good conscience, but I know refusing to leave could jeopardize my marriage. Do I have any options legally if I wanted to pursue moving John to a care facility in my new city? Money is extremely tight, so I can't fathom hiring a lawyer or taking on any personal financial responsibility over John, but I just don't know what to do. Sorry about the length. Edit. Thank you all for the overwhelming amount of replies. I never expected this post to receive so much attention. I'm still sorting through my feelings, but I have to accept that it would be crazy to put my life on hold just to be there for John. Thank you all for the amazing amazing suggestions. I'm going to get John a tablet and plan bi-weekly video conversations. That idea never occurred to me. And we will start video chatting before I leave, so he has a chance to get used to the new form of communication, in conjunction with the usual in-person visits, of course. And I'm also in the process of working with his church to find him more visitors. Thank you all so much. My husband thanks you too. And in response to the question of who has power of attorney over John, to be completely honest, I don't know. I would imagine it's one of his aunts or uncles, and that worries me, however, because they are all in their 80s and 90s. I have a lot of unanswered questions about John's future, but I do know Jan and Jerry planned well financially, and he has a large trust. I'm going to talk with the staff at his care facility and see if they can give me any additional information. Update. Last time I posted, I was overcome with guilt about the prospect of leaving my disabled friend to move across the country, and I honestly couldn't tell you the amount of hours I cried over the situation. It opened up so many cans of worms, and before this, I was living on autopilot. Coming to terms with the situation made me realize that I'm still grieving my parents. I still feel guilty about not putting in enough work taking care of my disabled siblings, therefore putting the burden on my parents. And I feel guilty about not visiting my siblings more. I miss Jan and Jerry terribly. I miss when I was younger and everything seemed so much easier. I didn't want to leave my home of 30 years, but I knew I had to. I was so scared of letting my husband down, and I just had so many emotions tangled up in my promise to Jan, my commitment to John, and the prospect of moving thousands of miles away. I received so much great advice on my post, and I know I didn't reply to most of the commenters, aside from a few special PMs, but I really can't put into words how much all the support meant to me. It really helped me when I was in a low place. So here goes with the update. My husband and I bit the bullet and made the big move this February. Before I left, I bought John a tablet and we practiced video calling for 3 or 4 times. Honestly, it didn't work very well. He didn't seem to connect with me as well through Skype. He was distracted, irritable. He didn't seem to recognize that it was me inside that tiny computer. The last time I visited him, I was heartbroken. I gave him a huge hug and a kiss. He's not normally super into physical contact like that, but he took it really well. And I gave him a care package and some of his favorite candies and treats, and he was really happy. It was so bittersweet. And I can't say I ever really felt confident in that choice. We continued with video calls bi-weekly until 2 months ago when I received a call from his treatment facility that John passed away after choking on a plastic game piece, and I'm still utterly devastated. He was one of the most special people I've ever known, and it's hard to accept the reality of him really being gone, and it's still a shock to me just typing this out. I know Jan and Jerry believed in heaven, so I like to think they are all happy together, happy and at peace now, and I miss all 3 of them very much. I can't thank this subreddit and my professionally licensed therapist enough for the support. I know this is a really depressing update, but I wanted to thank all of the commenters on my original post for a while, and it seemed fitting to make a final post. Then in the comments section, one user said,
John's mother was asking for you to do what you could to make sure he wasn't all alone without her, and you went above and beyond to do all you could to not only check in on him, but to treat him like family, to the point of almost putting him before your own husband. I can't imagine that's what John's mother could have intended. She clearly wasn't expecting you to have to spend decades of your life tied to caring for John for her sake. I'm so sorry that John passed away. I'm sure his mother would have been so overwhelmed with the care that you showed for him and through him for her and her memory. And I'm also sure that John would be incredibly grateful for how amazing you were with him. Neither of them would have wanted or intended for you to give up your life so to make his a little better. You should be so very proud of yourself. Very few people would have given as wholly as you did. I really hope you don't beat yourself up for moving away, as you absolutely did the right thing. You're clearly a very thoughtful, kind, caring person, and I wish you all the best, as it's what you deserve. Well, the last story I had a tear in my eye from laughter. This one I had a tear in the other eye for emotional stuff. But there's not really much to say about this one. It's a beautiful story, and OP went out of her way, above and beyond, actually, to care for John on the request of Jenny? What was the fake name she gave them? John, Jenny, and the lady. Jan, that's the name. I see it right here. But, she mentioned the stuff with her parents and her siblings. She didn't really elaborate much onto that, but it seems like some of that trauma carried over to the guilt that she felt about John. But I really hope she doesn't beat herself up about it because, again, she went above and beyond. I don't even think Jan would have expected what OP did. So I'm very proud of her, and it's unfortunate John passed away. He did, but, she cared for him even after his parents were gone. Anyway, next story. Story number 9. Final update to
Am I the a-hole for not trying harder to let my ex know that our son passed away? Throwaway account, as my ex follows my main. Both myself, F, and my partner M were 28 when I found out I was pregnant. Together 4 years. Personally, I didn't want the child. My work was offering potential advances within my position, and I was excited for it. But after a lot of talking, we decided to go forward with it. When I was around 20 weeks, just after finding out the gender, he disappeared. I couldn't contact him, he wouldn't answer the phone or messages, and I got worried and messaged his mother and found out he was living back with her and was overwhelmed with the situation. He kept paying his part of the bills over to my bank account each month, but I received no contact. I even tried going over. Nothing. By about 27 weeks, I gave up trying, gave up crying, and just got on with what I thought was a future as a single mother. And I brought everything needed over the next couple of weeks and set it all up. At 31 weeks, I started having pains, but put it down to Braxton Hicks. And just before 32 weeks, my waters went, and I went into labor, with the baby coming very quickly. He went straight to the NICU, and I messaged and rang my ex and his mother, and no response. Less than a week later, my son passed due to complications of early birth, and I again tried to contact my ex and his mother, and I left voicemails and messages, nothing. The next few weeks were a blur, but with the help of my mother and father, his funeral was arranged. They tried to contact my ex and his mother also. Still nothing. I sent more messages, nothing. I'm assuming we were probably all blocked, but honestly, at that point, I didn't care. I was so broken. His funeral came and went, and it was beautiful and horrible. And I stopped messaging and told my family not to bother after the funeral had passed, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. About 5 months after his birth/death, my ex turned up, let himself in. I wasn't at home, but when I got back, he was instantly hostile. The flat was clearly not set up for accommodating a child, and he demanded to see his son. And I broke down and told him what happened. And I have never seen him so sad and angry. He stormed out, slamming the door on his way out. Within half an hour, I got nasty calls from his mother, followed by messages from siblings and other family. How dare I not let them know about something so serious? How could I hide something like that out of pure spite and pettiness? I truly didn't. I tried, but I couldn't keep trying. It's been nearly 3 weeks now of them being awful. I was speaking to my sister this weekend about this, and she said,
"To be fair, it was a bit of a jerk move to not keep trying. They deserved to know."
Was it? I tried so hard to let him know, but I was struggling so hard too. I lost my son too. Am I the a-hole? Should I have done more? Edit. Thank you all so much for your responses. Sorry for not replying to any. I've been reading them a lot though. Honestly, I'm going to drink a bottle of wine or two, read your kind messages, and cry myself to sleep. Writing this all out and living it again has been hard. Unfortunately, I'm not able to change the locks. My landlord said no, but my tenancy ends on the 12th of June, and I already have a new flat to move into. And thankfully, my dad has been able to cover the cost of a private therapist, and I see her again Thursday. Thank you all so much again for your kind words. Edit number 2. If I had realized that this was going to blow up so much, then I probably would have just posted to my main account. If you see this post anyway, read it, Lewis, then read it again. Then read the comments and then just leave me alone. Thank you for all your comments, and I'm going to show my therapist the post when I see her and talk it through. But honestly, it has helped a lot. Even if I did cry quite a bit. I'm going to sleep now and won't be back on this post, but thank you all. Then in the comments section, the consensus was that OP was not the a-hole. Update. My previous post was locked, but I've had a few messages asking for an update. So before I leave this account completely, I just wanted to let people know I'm all right. The move went smoothly. I'm far enough away and there is no risk of bumping into my ex or his family. I changed my number and deleted all social media, so I haven't had anything from them personally for about 6 weeks. My sister apologized for what she said, and we've spoken a lot about it all. I definitely don't think our relationship is the same, but we're okay. And I still hear that they're speaking badly about me from friends, but I try and ignore it. I'm in therapy still, and I'm trying my hardest to move forward with everything. I visit my son's grave when I can, and thankfully, my ex and his family care so little about more than themselves that they never asked where he is buried, so I can do so in peace. Thank you all for everything you said, and I found myself going back to the previous post a lot over the last couple of months, and it has helped me more than I can express. I'll be leaving this account now, but again, thank you. Then in the comments section, one user said,
OP, can you explain what your sister said and was thinking?
My dad chewed her out in a big way when he found out what she said to me. She said that she didn't realize how much we tried to contact him, and thought it was like when I was pregnant that I decided not to bother with my ex anymore and just do it all myself. Honestly, it seems like bullcrap. My parents were my support throughout everything, but my sister wasn't so absent that she didn't know we rang and messaged a lot. But her apology did seem genuine, and she has had nothing nice to say about how they've been since. If anyone's going to blow up at them, it'll be her, but my dad said to leave it and let them ruin themselves. Update. Forgot about Reddit till I was clearing out some apps for phone space. Thought I would send out a final update before I send the app to the void. Wish I could say things are amazing, great job, new partner, blah blah blah, but it's nothing as great or exciting as that. I moved into my flat last year and it's nice. Forgot how expensive it is to live alone, but I'm managing. I did end up getting a new job, and its pay is about the same job role also, but my ex doesn't know where it is. He didn't show up at my old job or anything like that, but I just wanted a new start along with my new home. No new partner, by the way, and I don't have it in me to date yet. As for sister stuff, we are low contact. She apologized, but she still speaks with my ex on occasions, according to my mom. Nothing dramatic and Reddit style like, OMG, they're actually secretly sleeping with each other and have 5 babies and blah blah blah. Just that my sister will talk to him if they bump into each other. But honestly, it kinda hurts after everything. I'm still in therapy, and I doubled the length of my sessions around the 1-year date of my son's passing. Thankfully, my ex didn't turn up at his grave, or at least not when I was there. And I'm not gonna go into it too much, but it sucked. It hurt a lot, and I spent quite a few days drunk and crying in bed after the visit. My dad, though, has been my rock through all of this, and I'm still paying him back for everything. He waves me off saying I'm gonna pay X amount this month, but I know his bank cries a bit. We have a morning together on a Sunday where we just drink tea, catch up, maybe put on the F1. It's nice, and I love this time together. But basically, just boring, thankfully. No ex contact, nor his family, no massive life changes, just one foot in front of the other. I reread everything I posted last year and read lots of the comments again, and I just want to say thank you. I was in a really bad place mentally, and it was hard to see that I wasn't the villain in this. A mixture of therapy and all of the comments helped. So, thank you everyone. So, we read this story a long while ago, and I don't remember exactly what I said back then, but I know for a fact it was me bashing the ex, because what the hell? He's gone for what, 7, 8, 9, 10 months or something like that, and then he just comes back and says, hey, time to be a dad, I'm ready. What? Are you kidding me? Where were you? You left this poor woman alone and scared that she was going to be a single mother for a kid that she was initially reluctant to have, and then he just disappeared and ghosted her. I'll give him the money thing, there's that, I guess. And OP tried everything but sending smoke signals to contact them, and they were like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. But the second he wants to be a father, they come in and pretend to care. Are you kidding me? Get real. The only thing I wish OP did was print out and send every attempt she made to contact them on paper and give it to him and be like, where were you New Year's? Where were you on Martin Luther King Day? Where were you on International Left-Handers Day? Huh? You want to be a parent now? Yeah, right. Anyway, next story. Story number 10. My husband cheated and gave me an STD while I'm currently pregnant. Plus a new update. I am currently 8 weeks into my pregnancy, and I had gone for a routine pap smear and STD screening, and a few days later, I tested positive for gonorrhea. I had never cheated on my husband and never expected that he cheated on me. When I confronted him with the test results, he seemed genuinely shocked and insisted there had to be a mix-up with the results. He swore up and down that he had been faithful and there was no way that it could be true, and I insisted that he get tested. He agreed to do it, and as the days passed, he admitted that he had met a woman online and had sex with her. He claimed it was a mistake and he couldn't answer why he did it. And he said the woman that he met meant nothing to him, and it was a one-time thing. And I am disgusted and feel betrayed knowing that he put me at such risk. Our pregnancy was planned, so we were actively trying before I got pregnant, and he had no regard for that. The thought of continuing the pregnancy while dealing with this betrayal is overwhelming. I'm considering having an abortion because the idea of bringing a child into this mix is crazy to me, and I don't think I can ever forgive him, and I feel like crap for thinking of having an abortion, and I just can't see myself continuing this marriage and having a baby with him. Edit. I'm already on the verge of losing my mind just from knowing he had unprotected sex with a random woman, risking my life and our unborn baby. I would rather not dig into what he's been up to online, as I think that would cause even more pain for me. Then in the comments section, one user said, does the STD risk the health of the baby? I think many of them do. With that in mind, I would end the pregnancy unless you're in your late 30s or 40s and really think
think this is your one shot at a child and it's your greatest dream. And to the extent of doing it single, definitely terminate the marriage. He is a slimeball.
The STD was caught early and I was treated. Me and the baby are safe. Update. I finally decided to find out the truth about his affair. I figured out my husband's email password and discovered that he's been on dating sites for months. I also found a woman's name and email address from hotel bookings that he forwarded to her. I Googled her information, found out where she worked, and called her. And when she picked up, I got scared and hung up. But she called back and we had a long conversation. She said that she didn't know he was married and kept apologizing, and she told me that if my husband and I have been intimate in the past week, I should get tested because he gave her an STD. I was shocked because I thought she had given it to him, and she said he gaslighted her, making it seem like she got it from someone else. I told her he did the same to me. I didn't mention that I'm pregnant though, and she said that she cut him off and is considering suing him over it. They met on Tinder and have been seeing each other for 6 months. Although I initially thought she should have known he was married, but I believe her because my husband isn't on social media. He has an Instagram account but doesn't post pictures. She confirmed that they had sex multiple times, contradicting his claim that it was a one-time thing, and she said that they spent time in hotels until she felt comfortable inviting him to her apartment. We came to the conclusion that she was just one of the women he was involved with because he gave both of us an STD, and hearing all of this made me sick, knowing there are other women. I feel stupid for not realizing what was going on and probably wouldn't have found out if it wasn't for the STD results. My husband doesn't know what I've discovered or that I've spoken to her. This is incredibly tough, and I'm heartbroken and conflicted about whether I should schedule an abortion, but finding this out is pushing me towards that decision. Now here are some more relevant comments. User 1 said,
"It's heartbreaking that you have to make this choice at all. Until recently, you thought your marriage was intact and this pregnancy was wanted. But I'd really consider whether you want to be tied to this man for the rest of your life and have to co-parent with someone who is this cavalier with your health and well-being."
I wish I didn't have to make this tough decision. I don't want to co-parent with him, but at the same time, I feel so bad about having an abortion. My fear is that it might be a big regret that I won't be able to get over, and it's so frustrating because each decision is heartbreaking either way. Then user 2 commented and said,
"How did she not suspect he was married, even though she had never been to his house or met his important friends and family in 6 months? Remember, the baby is innocent and half of you."
She's actually met one of his close friends who's also married, which might mean that his friend is also having an affair. I don't know for sure, but if his friend is okay with meeting my husband's affair partner, my guess is he too has an affair partner. And I'm pretty sure his wife, who is my friend, doesn't know about this. And finally, user 3 commented and said,
"The most important gift you give your child is an amazing father, and it sounds like you have a horrible narcissist on your hands. If you go through with this pregnancy, he will be in your life for the rest of your life and play horrible mind games on you and your child. Going through pregnancy is one of the most vulnerable experiences of your life, and when you're pregnant, you risk injury or death. Imagine if something happened to you and your newborn baby was handed to this monster as the sole caretaker of an innocent life. Be thankful you have clarity now while you still have time to make decisions and truly think of your future. You can't trust anything he says about improving. He's capable and willing to lie without remorse. If he felt badly, it's just that he feels badly for getting caught, not for cheating."
If I decided to go through with this pregnancy, I would want nothing to do with him and would prefer that he not be a part of this experience or the child's life. I know that's selfish to say, and it's also impossible because he will make our lives hell. New update. I'm almost 10 weeks pregnant and I've scheduled an abortion. And I'm feeling so guilty about it. My mind keeps changing. Should I have my baby? I'm terrified that I will regret it and feel terrible for terminating an innocent life. And I'm also anxious about the possibility of never being able to get pregnant again. But then I think maybe I'm doing the right thing. The thought of dealing with this man for the next 18 years is overwhelming. We'd still be in each other's lives because we'd share a child. I'm just all over the place, and I feel sick having to make this decision. And we haven't spoken in weeks, and he doesn't know if I'm planning an abortion or not. And I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing by not letting him know about it. I've filed for divorce, and it feels like I'm dealing with 2 major losses at once. I'm so stressed, and I'm unsure how I will survive this. If I have the abortion, though, I can reasonably 1. Move on with my life peacefully, cut all ties, avoid custody battles, never have to see or hear from him again, and no longer have to deal with his lies and deceit. If I keep the baby, there will be him wanting to be there during my pregnancy, him wanting to make decisions about my baby. From the name to anything else I can think of, his family and their opinions, him wanting to be there during the birth, him and his family trying to gaslight my child into believing I'm a bad person and his dad being perfect, him being the child's role model, having to ask for his permission to make decisions like traveling or where I want to live, my child having a stepmom and maybe step-siblings who might not treat him well, my child meeting multiple girlfriends, me being forced to let him take care of the child. He will be free to have a parenting style completely different than mine, and if he's immature and petty, he might do things the opposite way I like them to just piss me off. There's also dealing with his emotional, mental, and financial issues, never knowing whether he's telling the truth or lying about all kinds of things. Did he feed the baby? Did he take care of the cold the way I told him to? Why did the child get hurt? Can I trust him to be sincere? Can I trust him to be honest if he makes a mistake that hurts the child, even if coming clean would help the child? Or will he hide it and lie the way he did with his cheating? Don't tell mommy we did this. Don't tell mom you saw this, or that I told you this, or you ate this, etc. There's also him being nosy about my personal life, including when I start dating or getting into a relationship or marry. I'm the kid's father. I have a right to know who's this guy that he's gonna live with and crap like that. And I can be sure my romantic life would suffer if he behaves that way. Not many good men want to get involved in that kind of situations. And him using the kid to manipulate me. Then in the comments section, one user said,
Every single point you have made is absolutely valid. He will use the child against you. He might even think that having the baby is his way back to you. You'll need help or feel differently once the baby is here. Anything is possible.
Yeah, he might try to use the baby as a way to get me back, and I'm not sure if I'd be strong enough to resist, especially with all the hormones from being pregnant. But taking him back is not an option for me. There's no way we can move forward from this, and I don't trust him anymore, and what he did to me is unforgivable. Then user 2 commented and said,
OP, think of it this way. The person who is supposed to defend and protect you is so selfish that he gave you and possibly your baby an STD just to satisfy a passing urge. This is who he is.
And finally, user 3 commented and said,
This would be the person making decisions on how to raise the baby, by the way, OP.
Yeah, he's not someone I trust to make decisions on raising our baby. Final update. I had an abortion yesterday, and I'm not sure how to feel. It was a difficult decision, but I believed it was the right one. There was no way I could keep the baby under these circumstances. And now, I just feel numb. I haven't told him, and we haven't spoken since I left him after discovering he gave me an STD. And I know that when he finds out, he will likely try to paint me as the worst person, and I'm not sure if he deserves to know the truth, or should I just say I had a miscarriage?
Should she tell him that she had a miscarriage? I don't know. You know, sometimes lying can save your life. I'm not saying the guy's gonna end her life or anything, but, I don't know. I'm not gonna comment on that one. But I don't blame her, ultimately, for wanting to get the abortion. You know, we read that long, list of pros and cons, and the cons list was 3 times longer than the pros. And I don't think a child deserves to be raised and brought up into that whole mess. And also, OP is allowed to prioritize herself and think about herself and think about the future. The guy put his wife and he put OP at risk, so, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't sound like a suitable father to begin with. You know, we didn't get all the information on him, but it feels like right now, from what we've gotten, it doesn't instill much faith that he's going to be a great parent and a great co-parent. But anyway, next story. Story number 12. New update to my little brother 3M is actually my fiance's kid, 25M. Yes, the title is effed up, I'm aware. My fiance 25M and myself 24F have been together since we were 17 and 18 years old. Honestly, he was always kind, handsome, funny, and everyone used to say I was so lucky to have the whole package. I felt so lucky too. He has always treated me with love and respect, so this makes everything just so shocking for me. I have always had a good relationship with my mom, by the way, and it has always been her and I against the world. My dad died in an accident when I was little. We always joked that we are the real-life Rory and Lorelai from the Gilmore Girls, and my mom dated guys on and off, and they were usually cool, but nothing really past the early stages. Around 4 years ago, my mom told me she was pregnant, which was a huge surprise. My mom was around 42 years old though, and she was sort of dating someone recently. I didn't meet the guy, but knew she went on dates, and it still though was a big shock.
She never thought she could be pregnant at her age. She had me when she was super young. I was an oopsie, and I can tell she was stressed and worried. I decided to support her since she has always supported me, and I tried to reassure her. She then had my brother, who is now 3 years old, and I have a close relationship with my brother, and I have helped take care of him since he was born, and I just love the little guy. My fiance was always helpful with my brother, and we would take him out for ice cream, playground, pool times during the summer, etc., but nothing was weird. He was just my then boyfriend spending time with my brother and I. Now, on to how I found out. My fiance and I live together and have since we finished college. My fiance was not at home since he was hanging out with his friends, but I was home because I didn't feel like going out and just wanted to chill on my sofa. At some point during binge watching a series on Netflix, my laptop died and I was too lazy to go get my charger, so I just took my fiance's iPad. I know the password, but honestly never used it before. The iPad logged in and I got a bunch of messages pinging. I guess he hasn't used it in a while. And anyways, this got my attention and I went to check it out, and of course, I found everything. My mom's number wasn't under her name, but I recognized the number and verified it with my phone. She was telling him she felt guilty and that I should know, and he said that he also felt guilty, but he couldn't lose me and that they effed it up. She said that it was unfair for my brother to never know his dad, and that if he could live having his son around not behaving like a dad, but a brother-in-law. And I broke down. What the actual F? There weren't a lot of older messages, just some photos stored of my brother as a newborn, my mom pregnant, and more photos of my brother growing up in an album. And I couldn't anymore. I cried for what it seems like ages, and I waited for my boyfriend to come back home. And I wish I was one of those women that can pretend and get things together before confronting the cheater, but I can't. He came back later that night around 11:30, and I just gave him the iPad with the conversation opened and saw his face go completely pale. And I asked for an explanation. When? How? Why? And he didn't want to at first, but he knew he had to. Apparently, a few years back while I was traveling with some friends on a girls' trip, my fiance and mom had dinner together. This isn't strange since he has been a part of the family for so long, and sometimes my mom and fiance would eat out together at our place even if I was busy, which was with sports or if I was out, and I did the same with his parents. And somehow, unclear how, since he couldn't explain it well, one thing led to another, and they ended up sleeping together. They felt guilty, but apparently not guilty enough because they slept together 2 to 3 more times, using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me. Apparently, when my mom got pregnant, they stopped sleeping together and decided to not tell me, since my fiance loved me and couldn't lose me, and my mom didn't want to lose her daughter. So here we are now with 2 of the most disgusting humans, and I obviously broke the engagement, told my mom to never talk to me again, and I moved in with a friend. I feel bad for my brother since I really love him, but I can't be around him now. I just can't. I feel like it would remind me of all those times we talked about having kids. I would be his baby mama, his only baby mama. We talked about this future since we were 17 years old. So I want to puke every time I think how I actually was taking care of his child with someone else while still having those dreams. I want to puke. Update. First, I want to thank everyone for the nice messages and comments. I was not expecting so much support, and I'm still a mess, not gonna lie, but after reading the comments, I felt better, like a therapy mini-session. So again, thank you all. To the update. As I was afraid, I was indeed confronted near my office this week, and I knew this was coming, but thought maybe I had more time. My ex was the person to come find me. Yesterday, Wednesday, after finishing work and walking to where my car was parked, my ex was sort of lingering, waiting around. I thought about running, not gonna lie, but I guess in that moment I felt strong enough to get over with it, instead of having that hanging above my head waiting to be approached again. And he asked if we could talk, and I said yes, but I didn't feel like having that conversation over coffee like we were old friends. It felt ridiculous, so I told him to just talk right there. We were in the streets, but somehow it wasn't crowded, but also not completely lonely. It felt right. He basically said sorry 100 times and that I deserved better. I agreed, and he said that he did love me, and that he still does, but he would understand why I wouldn't want anything to do with him. And he said that if I did in fact consider giving him a chance, that he would go to therapy, alone or together or both, and that he would work hard to win my trust back. I told him it wasn't possible. There was too much damage. This sounds calm when I type it, but in the moment, things came out more with louder tone and harsher words. Anyways, he did say that he is the one, or will be, it was a bit of a blur, in the process of getting custody, partly from my brother, and that he in fact does want to be a dad to him. He said he does not want to be together with my mom, and that it was just a stupid mistake. Sure, because 4 to 5 times mistake is just a random thing, and he couldn't explain why he did it in the first place. And I think he doesn't even know himself. I asked if he cheated with someone else before, and he said no. Not sure if I believe it, but he sounded honest. And I asked why he didn't come clean, and he said that after he did the deed, he always felt panicked, and it hits him that he could lose me, and he just didn't want to. I told him it was meant to be found out. That was his plan? To have my brother around and ignore their relationship forever? He said he didn't think far enough and that he was basically going with the idea one day at a time, survival mode. And I asked him if he felt that my mom seduced him, and he said it was mutual, which made me again want to puke. I asked if he has had any contact with my mom since I found out, and he said yes, but mostly about my brother. Didn't elaborate more, and I didn't press for more info on that, and he said that he told his parents the day before or the day before that, not sure, Monday or Tuesday, and he told them about everything. The parents were not happy, but they are glad to start building now a relationship with my brother, their grandkid. Honestly, all of this felt like a punch in my stomach, and I don't know why. The parents wanted to contact me, but he told them to wait until he approached me first, hence why he was here. I said and asked him if he started or thought about the custody before I found out, and he said no, but when I found out, it was like the push he needed. Great. Seems like I helped him get his crap together. Ugh. And this past week, he was arranging all of that mess. That's why he hasn't tried to see me before. And he sounded and looked defeated, but the whole thing made me, besides sad, angry. I was mainly depressed before, but now I'm furious. I feel like he is still in an okay place, and he isn't paying for his actions, so to speak, beyond me leaving him. He will have my brother, his parents, and others, and will move on with his life. Well, I lost everything. I hate him. We parted ways, not on a happy note, and I told him to never get near me again. I was done. He asked me to see my brother still. That was important to him, and tried to guilt trip me, and it worked, but I still think I can't. I don't know much about my mom and really hope she doesn't come find me anytime soon because I am fuming right now and won't be able to handle it. I will be contacting my family and friends and finally doing the blasting today. I think it is about time, and after my talk with him, I got the extra push I needed. Update number 2. Hi everyone. Again, I want to say thanks for all the support on my last update. Honestly, like I said in my previous post, it really helped me a lot emotionally. All of your comments and also all of the advice I got. That being about moving abroad or what to say when I do the blast, thank you. Anyway, a lot has happened. I did the blasting, and this is how it went down. I first posted on my family's Facebook group that we share. This is from my mom's family side, and I used inspiration of what you all suggested in my last post and said something along the lines of, I want to communicate to you all that my wedding with X has been permanently canceled, since I found out that my mom and my ex had in the last few years a sexual relationship which resulted in the birth of my little brother. I had no clue of any of this, and I found out about it last week. I won't, moving forward, have a relationship with my mom and my ex for obvious reasons, and I would appreciate your understanding, and I felt it was only fair to let you know of the situation, since I value transparency and honesty above all. And that is what I wrote. And I also included a screenshot of my mother's message, which I said to her once I found out, and a message she managed to write back before I blocked her. I didn't open the message until before the blasting, and I didn't want to hear or read and be persuaded. Well, it exploded, and I had family reaching out via text and calling the whole day after the blasting, and I would say most were very supportive, and I could tell they were just shocked. There were a few neutral and some suspicious that it wasn't the whole story and maybe I misunderstood, and my grandparents were in the maybe you misunderstood category, which it wasn't surprising since my mom is super close to my grandparents. And like I said before, my mom was always a good mom, so no red flags. As for me, I will be moving in with a cousin that is more like a sister to me. I haven't reached out to her previously because I knew once she knows, everyone else would. That's why I went to my friend's place. My cousin is devastated on my behalf and offered I live with her and her 2 kids until I can get my feet off the ground. I accepted and will be moving next week. I'm a bit afraid, and this will give my mom an easier access to me, but I can't stay at my friend's place forever. I then proceeded to quickly post a similar message for we share most of our friends since high school and local university, friends on Instagram, and I created a close friends story and tagged most of them too. This sort of went viral in our friend group, And actually, one of my friends sent me my Reddit post and asked if this was me. I confirmed. They were also shocked and speechless, and they never thought my ex would even remotely do anything like this. They said, "He was crazy about you." Oh well. Apparently, he went overboard on the crazy part, and the group of friends is divided at the moment. Some are completely on my side, and some are thinking it isn't the whole truth. I told everyone that reached out that if they don't believe me, to ask their friend if he is asking for custody of my little brother. That kinda shut them up for now. My ex deleted his social media, apparently. Also, my ex's parents called me like I guessed they would. They were kind to me and very sorry about everything. I got the feeling they are also overwhelmed and very disappointed. However, it was clear they will be supporting their son. They are very upset at my mother, though, and don't want anything to do with her, but not sure how that will work with my little brother and everything else. They tried to give me info about the custody and what my ex is up to now, but I shut that down quickly and told them I don't want any info. I want to move on. I also asked them not to reach out in the near future, that I needed distance, specifically if they will be supporting my ex, and he is living with his parents at the moment. Also, my ex and my mother after the blast were going nuts trying to reach out to me. They tried calling my friend, who has blocked them, and reaching out from different numbers. I had to put my phone on silent and ignore everyone. However, my mother sent me a long text from another number, and that was a weird message. She said that I was being cruel and that she didn't think she raised me that way. She thought we had a better relationship than me blasting out laundry like that without talking to her first. That I didn't have the whole picture. She did mention something that confused me. She said in her long-ass text that the reason she slept with my ex is because he reminded him of my dad, that it was grief, that she didn't mean to use him to heal her pain, but she wasn't strong enough. I don't even know what that means. Like, did she think that my ex looks physically like my dad, or personality, or what? I have seen photos of my dad, and well, yeah, my ex isn't super different, but also not super alike. I mean, they share brown/dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, but that's not so uncommon. I don't see what else. I don't know. That threw me for a loop, and honestly, makes me want to confront my mom just to know what the hell. From all the things she could say, I was not expecting that. Me, I'm holding on better, though. I don't cry every hour, and I don't want to wring their necks, but I'm still sad and upset. And it just feels like this isn't my life, that this is a big joke or a bad dream, and I will wake up to my normal life. I also need to really start planning my future and start applying for jobs in other cities, or maybe check the possibilities abroad more seriously. I might ask for 2 to 3 days off work to really get my thoughts together and do some research. And I'm terrified, to be honest. I feel frozen, but I know I need to start moving. Now, here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "That mom is hilarious. I thought I raised you better. Well, I never in a million years thought you'd F my boyfriend, but here we are." Then user 2 replied and said, "I'm just saying my petty ass would be sending her that." Then user 3 said, "Right? The irony of her blaming you for airing laundry when she did that." And finally, user 4 said, "Well, the laundry wouldn't be dirty if you hadn't effed my boyfriend on it." Update. My group of friends is divided. Some of his closest friends had been saying that I should give him another chance, that no one is perfect, but he loves me and that he will always be good to me and I shouldn't just turn my back on him. They even said that my ex, Max, my little brother, and I could be a perfect little family and that I could make sure that my little bro has a good stepmom. Who better than his blood relative, right? This is so bullcrap. They are talking like he messed up on something minor or even medium. Like he lied about getting laid off work, or like he forgot to pay our bills for a month. Like, WTF? I have some girlfriends that are completely on my side and supporting me, which is nice, but our friend group isn't solid anymore, and everyone is taking sides. I did have a conversation with Max on the phone, though, and I admit I had a bit to drink that night since I was coming back from meeting some friends for dinner, and I had a few glasses of wine and a cocktail, but I remember the talk. Disclaimer, this is not the exact conversation, but I will put what I remember to the best of my abilities. Me. Do you think that you were groomed? Max. I never thought of that, but maybe. How did you even get a crush on my mom? I thought we always hung out in a group, and my mom wasn't really there for more than a few minutes in passing by. Was it looks? I mean, yes and no. I thought she was pretty and therefore the teen crush, but I then also tried talking to her by passing through your house and asking if you were there, and then had a chat with your mom. By the way, he knew I wasn't there, but then anyway I said, "So, was I always your second choice?" And then he said to me, "No, you aren't now." "And what about back then when you asked me to be your girlfriend?" Then he didn't say anything and there was silence, so I asked him again, "Tell me the truth, please." And then he replied with, I don't know, I did like you, but I still had the crush. So, do you want to be with my mom now? No, I don't want to be with her. Then why did you do it, Max? To get her out of your system? So you still wanted her? Did you want her during the times we had sex? No, don't. I only wanted you. I don't know. I felt like those YOLO moments. I thought I would give my teen self what he always wanted. I felt stupid. Okay, then why did you do it more times? I really don't know. Then we were silent a lot, and not long after, we hung up. It was a short call and honestly emotional, and I was sort of drunkish, and he seemed emotionally drained too. I felt stupid for opening up and calling him and asking those questions, and I said 1,000 times I don't want to know more, but I was weak, and every time I feel like moving on, I get hit again by everything. My brain can't understand yet. On my mom front, well, not a lot has happened. She continues to try to fix it, and my grandparents started reaching out to me, but I didn't answer. I'm sure they were trying to give me support, so I don't know. Update number 3. Hi everyone, so I'm finally here with an update and a good one at that. I'm moving to Spain. I got the job as an au pair near one of the biggest cities in Spain, and I'm so excited. I'm flying away in a few days and starting September 1st with the family. The kids are adorable too, and I will be learning Spanish too, which I always wanted to do anyways, so it all feels like heaven sent. I haven't told almost anyone about it, just a few friends I trust and of course my cousin who I live with, and also my boss. My mother has been telling people I'm being mean to her when she wants to fix everything. She made a mistake and is trying to fix it, but I'm being difficult. As well as the fact that she is just human. Not surprising. I'm now really coming to terms on how self-centered she is, and how she has always been that way. I'm sad because I lost the mom I thought I had. It feels like if she died. My new therapist, yes, I got one last week, said that I'm grieving. As for Max, he has left me a bit alone since the last call that we had, and I heard he is focusing on my little brother and just staying under the radar. I have had some short phone calls with my little brother, which has been bittersweet, but he is doing okay. He of course doesn't know what's really happening, but he is happy having a new dad. It doesn't hurt as much as it did before, but it still hurts. Thank you all for the support. Then in the comments section, one user said,
OP, for the record, Spanish men are hot.
I heard they are also ladies' men, but going with an open mind and also focusing on myself for now. I'm not 100% ready for a relationship or even a hookup, but eventually, let's see. So, we read this story a while ago and got a few new updates, which is why we're reading it again, so I don't want to hear any, is this a repeat comments in the comment section, or I will turn this car around. But, to reiterate what I said last time, which was, I can't comprehend how bad OP must have felt at the time to lose the two people she was close to the most. Oh no, my fiance betrayed me. Mom, what should I do? Oh my god, mom betrayed me. Everywhere I go, there is betrayal. Will my goldfish leap out of the bowl and leave me next? I don't know. But now we have a better ending for OP, a fresh start for OP, and she's going to Spain where the men are hot, according to that one commenter, followed by 2 very promiscuous emojis. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to read out emojis though. But as a narrator, I will find a way to appropriately narrate emojis. But as for OP's ex and her mom, forget them, whatever. OP's got a fresh start. She's moving on. She's in therapy. She's realizing she's grieving. So she can only go up from here. And she can leave them behind. Anyway, next story. Wait, everyone, hold on. So I'm looking at my document here, and the next story is a repeat with no new update. So it feels like we have a small error here. So anyway, the video's over. We're at the end, guys, okay? I know, the 2-hour video is slightly shorter. I know, you'll have to forgive us. It's only an hour and 30 something minutes now. How unfortunate. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the slightly less longer, but still very long video. Have a really good day. Hope you enjoyed the video, and bye-bye!